when you say why having fun at work or why to have fun at work is the easy part, the how-to, you need to learn the how-to. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so our business model is the how-to, right, as opposed to the why. However, we realize that people need the why. And there's people that have done a really great job of that, and we reference people like Scott Christopher, the Levity Effect, spent years and years researching and capturing all the results about how companies who implement fun achieve these great business results. Harvard Business Review. I can cite all kinds of studies that indicate that. But Scott Christopher told me that when he's doing a keynote, people run up to him afterwards and say, "Oh my God, I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to do this for my business. It makes so much sense. How do I do it?" So that's kind of where we come in, right? So and the as far as the why, there's a couple things I'd share with you. So out of Fortune's 100 top places to work, best companies in the country, 81% report that they have a fun environment, a fun workplace environment. So, and then there's just a lot of other supporting data, and I could spend hours talking about that. So, but again, because we are the how-to, I'll spend a little more time on that subject. That's our expertise.
Epic, yeah, and it's interesting because when we were prepping, you referenced companies like Google and Zappos and Southwest and their culture. I'm quite sure along your studies you've studied specific cultures of specific companies. Is there any story you're comfortable? And I say comfortable because a lot of times, even though a lot of things are in the public, sometimes when doing research, you get privy to deeper in. Because I already can tell from you, you're a guy that probably has made phone calls and probably has seen I'm going to guess the insides of some companies that most of us won't, haven't. So, is there any story that you feel comfortable sharing with the audience to talk a little bit about that, about that having fun at work and why it's so important that you've seen from your
Sure.
research?
Yeah, so someone that I think most people will recognize and know, the company Zappos is often cited as one of the models for sure. And Tony Shay is an amazing CEO and founder of Zappos. We've had the good pleasure of speaking with him. We're friendly with him. His book resides on, or our book resides on his shelf, and likewise at our place we reference his all the time. So Tony really hires people for the culture, right? That if they don't have a sense of humor, they really can't work at Zappos. So he's taken it to a whole nother level where he's not just creating these activities in the workplace, but he's hiring for the culture. And there's a very definite process in the way that Tony goes about it, but it's made Zappos wildly successful. And if you can be successful in the shoe business online, right, it's pretty commodity driven. There's a lot of companies who do it. But if you're a Zappos customer, you know that customer service experience is just so exceptional that, I don't shop anywhere else. So I like to talk about Tony because that's a real life, example and somebody that I admire, one of our, kind of heroes in the business. And there's countless others. I just met with a company this week that is the top advertising agency in the country, and they're not in New York or LA. They're in Broomall, Pennsylvania, and the leader created this company around culture and around fun, and they're wildly successful now, receiving all these rewards. So there's a lot of examples. I just think that the Tony Shay one is probably the one that most people would recognize with Zappos.
Well, and it's interesting because to kind of summarize the why piece of this segment and then to move a little bit more into how to, because I would love, I'm going to summarize it and I'm going to preface it by saying once I'm done summarizing, it would be great if you could give our audience at least one tip on maybe how to start building this fun culture. But the amazing thing is if you can be a company like Zappos and you can turn it not only to selling shoes and everything else, but I should say the amazing thing from a company like Zappos, and even what you just said, is their fun in the workplace extends to the customer, which makes the customer happier, which keeps them on board even when things go wrong. And that becomes the key. things aren't always going to go perfect every single time. But if you have a culture of fun and you have a great culture that not only goes from the top down to all the employees, but extends out to your clients, you're going to get more leeway when mistakes happen with most clients. I mean, there's some demanding clients like Apple and Steve Jobs and everything that, yeah, you're not going to get the leeway, and that's okay. That is that clientele. But most clients, if you have established that, if you establish this great culture and you've treated them well, they're going to give you more leeway. And that for me is that other than my employees, that is the reason why I love to create a fun culture at work, because I want to know that when we make a mistake, because we're all humans, that our clients are going to go, hey, you've treated us right. You've been, we enjoy working with you. Just don't do this thing again, but we'll give you a break. So back to you, because this is your episode, not mine. Fact of the matter is I'm quite sure everybody would love a tip or a trick on how to start having fun at work and how to maybe even get started. Maybe they can get started today before they pick up that phone and call you, which they're going to do after this, and they're going to visit your website. But even before, is there any steps, tips, or tricks you can give them that they could start on the how-to?
Sure. So the shared experience that I referenced earlier is really a great place to start, and it's a fun exercise that you can do in any size office, from 2 people to 2,000. We've done it successfully in all size groups. So that's part, in our book, and I can, speak more about that. But really, the other tip that I would really tell people is that keep it simple. That fun is, it doesn't have to be this big production thing. We're usually talking people off the ledge. They want to buy everybody iPads and do all that. That's not really what makes it successful. It's these little organic things that happen every day. So here's a good tip for you, because we refer people to this site. It's holidayinsights.com. holidayinsights.com. And for just about every day of the week, there is a holiday associated with it. So, look at Holiday Insights, and a couple of weeks ago I was in front of a crowd, and it would happen to be, National Left-Handers Day. So, a company said, hey, let's just have everybody in the company for the day use their opposite hand, or National Smile Week, and one company was counting the amount of smiles of employees, and somebody won some little trophy at the end. So these are things that you can do very easy, very simple. They're the things that we recommend. Videos are fantastic, right? Use a video before you start a meeting. They're quick, they're free, they're great. You don't have to facilitate, you just push the button, right? And the video kind of inspires the mood or sets you up for a successful, productive meeting. So there's all kinds of things, and again, we have thousands, so I won't go too deep into it, but my tip would be keep it simple and brief, right? So our sweet spot is anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. Sometimes we go as long as an hour, hour and a half. But what we recommend to companies is to do things brief, respective of business interruption, easy to implement. We've got tons of things. We can send you Fun in a Box. We have Fun in a Box with the instructions, the props, everything. So we've kind of got it down.
Fun in a box. I like that. I must admit, maybe for our audience that might have some other connotations, but that's a whole different topic, a whole different show. But Fun in a Box sounds like a blast. But I love the tip there, and I think the biggest thing I take away from that is keep it simple, because we tend to. I know sometimes I do, and a lot of people do, tend to overcomplicate things and overthink things, and we think we know what'll make people happy. It's like, there's as a quick digression, there's some research that has been done recently to show that you can put a cardboard box and an iPad in front of a child, and they will almost always gravitate towards the cardboard box and have fun. And people are looking, going, "Geez, I bought them all these toys," and it's like, sometimes the simple solution is the best. And when it comes to fun, it is, because you don't. I mean, this is your topic, but I would guess you don't want to have to think about how much, because thinking isn't really fun for a lot of people, and really trying to figure things out, like, okay, how can I make this and how can I do all this? And for your employees, if they're having to work at figuring out what the fun is supposed to be about, that's not going to be as much fun. So I love the concept of keeping it simple. And the best news, if you want to keep it simple, at the end we're going to give you a way to get in touch with Nick, his partner Nat, and the fun department. Just stick around to get all that information, and you can reach out and get fun in a box. I might be ordering up some fun in a box as well, but that's besides the point. So anyway, let's, before I completely derail this, let's talk about traditional team building model. And in prep for the show, this piece is all about why it's broken.
To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.